Between the rise of the Kimrog Empire and the tumultuous Demon Wars, there was an enigmatic era. A time when brave souls traversed oceans and continents in search of glory, riches, and power. Let us tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello and welcome to High Adventure. The brothers have had a fantastic, fresh sushi breakfast, courtesy of Zhao Chen, who has expertly sharpened his flaying knife. And after you guys have some morning breakfast, as the camp is kind of rousing, you see your mother waking up, and she's sort of helping, and the crew is helping, and Captain Fu's kind of getting people mobilized. And what you find is Captain Fu comes to you and asks you if you would be willing to explore a bit more of the island. And he looks out to you and asks you if you see anything else that might be useful for the camp, or if you get any sense of any settlements. To be cautious, because he reminds you that Nisia as a region is a melting pot of many peoples. He tells you that there are other races, other peoples from other continents who look different from us, from Sacurans. So to use your discernment, do not be quick necessarily to make enemies. And he says he trusts that you will have this wisdom.
It's understood.
And with that, he kind of goes back to working with some of the crew who have kind of gathered some sturdy limbs from trees, and they are kind of using vines, and they're weaving these limbs together to sort of make these canopies. So you guys gather your things, what things you have. Speaking of which, being that you lost a lot of your things in the wrecking of the ship, you guys know that, with the exception of Zhao Chen's filleting knife, that none of the crew have like real weapons or armor or shields or anything, and they've all by this point made, staffs and clubs out of things that they were able to find around the island. So bearing that in mind, Cade, you actually do have your weapon though.
Yeah.
And Cho, you had kind of fashioned a bow stick out of a branch that you were able to find, a sturdy branch that you were able to find. So you guys kind of set off. Now where you were on the island is, as you remember, when Cade did his dolphin swim around the circumference of the island, he was able to discern that the island is kind of like a seed pod that's kind of northeast by southwest, and that it's wider than it is taller. And your previous day's exploration brought you to the creek, which kind of followed that same trajectory, and you figured that you were about in the center of the island. From Cade's reconnaissance that on the southern end of the island where you guys are, it's a lot more of the dense woods and kind of jungle, but the southwestern tip and the northern coast are a little more open and rocky for a few miles without a significant dense forest. So where would you like to go? What do you guys do?
One thing I'll do first is I'm gonna offer my scimitar to my brother Cho.
Okay.
Brother, I think you can make better use of this than I can right now. I have plenty of my own weapons at my disposal.
Thank you, brother. I will take great care of it.
Cho, your brother's scimitar is has a slightly different balance than your own blade, but certainly it being a light weapon, you're flexible enough and familiar enough with how to maneuver with it, and it definitely is a vast improvement over the stick that you have. So so you guys are, again, you're just kind of by your little camp. Where would you like to go?
Shall we go back and follow the stream?
I think that's a good idea, brother. What about you, Shao?
That's a very good idea. It's a way to find our way back also, so let's track on.
Okay. You guys, you know, you kind of remember the route that you went, and you know, being that it's morning, there's a lot of the vibrant sounds of, like, you know, the insects and birds and stuff. It's very, the jungle is alive with sounds. And there's kind of a dampness in the morning, you know, like a dew. There's a mist. You as you're walking, you get drips of water, you know, from branches above you and stuff. And it as you're walking, there's also, you know, kind of evidence of creatures, right? And there's you see the birds in the trees. You see like monkeys kind of skitter away as you guys kind of you know, move through. There's definitely, you know, a sense that while you're in this forest, it's very alive. Go ahead and make perception checks as you guys are traveling. I'm gonna say, like, you've hiked about 3 miles inland.
18.
I got a 9.
13.
Okay. As you guys are hiking in, Shao, you see some tracks that do not look like any tracks you've seen on this island before. They're not small like the furry creatures that climb around on the ground in the trees. They're not like slithering like a snake. You've seen some tracks like that. They're not hooves like the boars or the that you've seen. They almost look like toes, like there's 5 prints, but it's kind of webbed. It's almost like a frog's foot, like where it's webbed between the toe marks. But there's distinctly and very widely spread out 5 kind of points of contact. And you see several sets of these prints, kind of 2 by 2.
What is the length of the footprint?
So you put your own foot kind of up to them, and it's that big. It's humanoid sized. What you find interesting, though, is the direction. These prints seem to be going toward the camp. So you could actually backtrack them. You could follow them from where they came from. Because the prints that you found, these 2 sets, are going toward the camp.
Right.
Brothers, I've found footprints of some strange origin. Should we follow them? Looks like they're going back to camp. But can we see them going in both directions? Maybe we can go to where they originated from.
We could do that.
How
How old do the tracks look, though? Like, if they're fresh.
Fairly fresh, like
They may be
like
someone
maybe last
attacking the
night.
camp.
Then we should follow them back towards the camp then.
Let's make sure camp is secure before we go and follow them to their origin.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to have you make now that Shao has pointed these out to you, make a survival check. It's pretty easy DC because these are fresh tracks and no one's trampled through this area.
That's pretty
15.
decent. 17.
That'll do it. Yeah, so you guys are able to follow these tracks. You turn around, basically, and they kind of go wide. They don't follow directly like where you just came from. They kind of go wide and a little bit more southwest. But they basically circle back. to a position that's about 100 yards southwest of the cove and your camp.
We need to inform
Kind of
Captain
by an
Fu.
area of rocks and shrubbery, and then it looks like from there they go into the water.
They may be trying to surround the camp or devise a way to attack the camp when we're not ready for them. Let's inform Captain Fu and have them secure the defenses on the rear side of the camp.
Yes. Secure the camp from the waterfront, because if things going in the water, they can come up to the little cove beach that we have. And
Okay. All right, so you guys walk up the beach, well, the rocky coast, towards the camp. You get to Captain Fu, and he seems to be surprised to see you. He's like, "What? Why are you back so quickly? Have you found something?"
We've found footprints that lead up here to these rocky section and then down into the water.
And we described that they're not human feet, but more of a reptilian or amphibious origin. So they could be a water breathing type people. So you should secure the camp from the water side as well and be on the lookout. You've heard anything like this, Captain?
I have. On most of the larger islands where we make port, these creatures are not found. Some think that they were indigenous to this area. They're like humanoids, but they can breathe underwater. They swim, but can also go on land.
Do they bear bad intentions?
I do not know. I have not encountered them. I know that in the early decades of the exploration of this region, that there were some battles with these creatures. Some referred to them as sea devils. But it is also known that they would attack settlements and that they could come to land.
Raiders, effectively.
Yes, it is good that you have informed me of this, and perhaps if there were only two, they were curious or scouting, but there could be more. We will begin working on some sort of improved fortification. Although Cade's work to move the land and create that trench was also helpful. Perhaps when you return from exploring, you could assist with a bit more of that to create some kind of embankment along the rocky coast as well.
Of course, Captain.
Was the path single file, or could we tell the numbers based on what we saw?
It was 2 by 2.
Okay.
They were not single file, so you guys were able to follow them.
Okay.
Now, after that, you see him kind of calling over. You see that they've tied together some of the larger poles, and they are working with that. Remember that huge sail that you guys found, the sheet of canvas?
Yeah.
They're working with that to make kind of like a base camp tent between two really large trees, and they have other poles kind of to support it. So he kind of goes back to that. So you guys could go back and follow the other direction from whence they came if you wanted, or
do we feel that the camp is secure enough for us to venture back and follow the trail?
I mean,
so.
It's secure in a sense, you know, because of the fact that you've got a lot of people doing stuff, and because of the fact that Cade moved earth to create like a trench and then an embankment, like a berm. So there's, it's kind of like it has like a perimeter wall of dirt, of mud, and then a trench around it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can see where they came from.
Yes.
They must have a camp somewhere.
We go to determine their numbers and their intentions.
Okay.
It sounds like it's a scouting party.
Exactly, brother.
you guys go back down the coast and you find the tracks and you follow them. You begin backtracking them. Once you're about where you discovered the tracks, make another survival check, because you're going to hit a certain part where this becomes a little more challenging.
7.
15.
15. Okay.
Yes.
So you guys don't really have a problem following the tracks, but when you continue going past where you discovered them and you go another couple miles in, you come to the point where you're at the creek, and the tracks lead to the creek as if they came out of the creek or crossed the creek. And when you kind of follow visually across the creek, you realize you don't see the tracks on the other side. So you kind of fan out, and Cade, you got a 15.
Yes.
Quite a bit, like I'm talking like 100 yards south and west down the creek, you see the two tracks. So it looks like, based on what you've looked at here, it looks like they entered the creek, walked in the creek for like 100 yards, and then came up on your side of the creek. So now you have found the origin of those tracks on the north side of the creek, and they seem to be coming from the northwest coast.
I'll get my brothers and let them know. Brothers, I found the tracks finally. They came downstream and then cross 100 yards that way, so we should go that way.
We have to proceed with caution.
Of course.
We should.
Using my stealth, I continue to follow the tracks.
Okay.
Brothers, I'm gonna hold them up. Brothers, stay within 30 feet of me. I'm going to use an ability. I'm going to cast Pass Without Trace.
Cast what?
Pass Without Trace.
Ooh, clutch. All right, so all of you make your stealth checks, but remember that you get to add a +10 on top of your normal bonuses due to your brother's spells.
Yeah.
That's 15. That's plus 15, baby.
Wait, hold on. Stealth check, you said?
31.
Yes, sir.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I got a 14 plus 8. I'm 24, so.
That's
Stealth,
fantastic.
that's a 29.
Yeah. So you guys are moving extremely quietly. And it is about 2 miles until you're kind of through the canopy. And you're starting to come through the edge of the jungle, and you see like the open, sparsely vegetated, rocky north coast of the island. Okay. And you see some movement about 60 feet out into the open. And it looks like 2 quadrupedal animals kind of tearing at something, like eating something. Like there's 2 of them, and they're eating the carcass of something else. The animals are kind of furry looking. They have like strong muscular builds, and they have like dark, kind of charcoal colored fur. And they are on all 4s, and you see they have like tails, but you can't really see their heads because they're tearing at the corpse of some other thing and eating. But you definitely, they don't know that you're there because your stealth is absurd. So you could see this.
Mm-hmm.
Curb it or just let them continue with their meal. They do
I
look
think that was
hungry.
best. I think that was best, brother.
And
Yes, I
it
know
doesn't look like they are the ones that created the tracks.
No,
Are they smaller animals?
they are small. Yeah. Not tiny, like
Right.
Like small not rodent
like
small.
like
but
they are not
raccoon.
tigers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're not lions
Yeah.
or tigers. They're a
Great Dane
smaller,
size.
yeah, they're a smaller, like, dog-sized creature.
I'll study them a little bit just in case I think I can like
Make a
turn
nature
one of
check.
those later.
Make,
Okay.
make a nature check, because this would be an opportunity for you to identify a new species of
That's not
animal.
bad. That's not bad. Nature check. 13.
Okay. So if all you're doing is observing, and you're not trying to get closer, no rolls are necessary. As you are observing patiently, you see like one of them kind of looks up and turns and looks around, not at you guys, but just kind of like how animals do when they're eating and they don't trust their environment. And you
Yeah.
see it has kind of like a feline face. So it's some kind of, feline, big cat kind of family,
Gotcha.
but not as big as a tiger or a lion. And you can see now that it's eating some poor boar that is torn up. And the other one next to it is chowing down as well.
Leave them to their meal and continue, I suppose.
This
Indeed.
continues. But the vexing part is that the footprints kind of lead out into the open.
So like kind of past them, basically.
Past them. Yeah. Like towards.
I think we can get around them with my spell.
Pass
Okay.
without a trace. I'm sorry, I had a question. Pass without a trace. Does that hinder the odor of something, or it's just visual?
No. So it's a sound-based thing. So you would need to make another, if you're going to try to go around them and pick up the tracks, you guys would need to make another stealth check.
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yep. And you get to add in the plus 10.
Yeah. If we're gonna keep following these people, that's what it looks like.
30.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm at 22 without the 10,
Stealth.
so 30. So 32.
That's dirty 20.
Dirty 20. The three of you are moving. You've gone, you're not like walking right towards them, right? Even though the tracks
No.
are kind of by them, you're going
Yeah,
a
we'll
little
just go around
wider.
them.
You're kind of, making your way but it's much more open. It's not jungle now. So you're kind of just crouching low and moving slow and quietly, going kind of from, shrub and rock piles to each space. And you get kind of past them. And one of the two looks up over at you. And it has the meat in its mouth, and it's looking at you guys.
Continue on.
I'll
I don't
just-
think they see us.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it alone. I ain't messing with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not one to come between an animal and his meal.
You guys continue moving. It's looking at you. Like it clearly sees you, but it doesn't do anything. It's just holding its meat in its mouth. And then you see the other one kind of look up in its direction, and it sees you as well. But they don't move.
It looks like they can sense that we're there. I don't think they can physically see us. So let's just continue on.
Okay.
If they had any problems with us, they would have dropped the food and attacked us, or at least got more
Yeah.
aggressive.
We're
Or,
not messing with them. They're not gonna mess with us.
Yep.
All right.
I want to bow to them and see if they have cognizant thought.
You could do animal handling.
I don't
It would
have
be
any.
hilarious. And then if you rolled a 1, I would just say,
Oh,
"Hey, attack."
fuck.
Attack
Roll
you.
initiative.
Jeez.
So you guys continue safely as long as you don't advance towards their kill. They just watch you for a little while, and then when you're like, I'm talking like 150 feet away, you see them kind of go back to eating. You find the tracks, and the tracks kind of are a little harder to follow now because this is a rocky area and not so much of a muddy area. But you make me one more survival check, all of you guys.
Okay.
11.
10.
Hmm.
I have 0 help on my survival technique.
The closer you get to the coast, the harder it is to find the tracks. And at some point, the tracks look like maybe another animal, like a boar, something with hooves, crossed this area. And the tracks are kind of washed out. You by your best guess, you figure that you're about a half mile from the northern coast. And it seemed like that's where they were coming from. But you've lost the actual tracks.
Yes. Let's continue heading north and see if we can either rediscover the tracks or an encampment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys walk and you eventually get to the northern coast. And it's rocky. The waves splash against the rocky coast. And just to describe this, there are some sporadically some trees that grow, right? And as you get to the coast, there are large rocks that kind of are sporadically around as well, as if maybe there might have been some kind of mountainous formation that broke apart or tumbled over eons, over hundreds or thousands of years. You don't really know, but there are large kind of rocks that are scattered around. You guys kind of see this. You see some trees. What do you want to do?
Has it been an hour since I've used Pass Without Trace?
No. You've only traveled a couple miles.
Okay.
It's close. We'll say it's like 45 minutes.
Okay.
We see upon closer inspection, and also, brother, Cade, is there a way that you can become something amphibious and maybe look in the water to see if there are any type of, now that we know what we're looking for, if there are any type of trailings in the water itself?
You're right. They could have living spaces underneath the rock or in the rock somewhere in the water.
All right. What kind of, so are you guys looking around on land for anything as well, or?
And I'm trying to search the land more clearly to see if I can get a better idea of what we've followed upon.
All right, those who are searching the land, before I do Cade's water thing, those who are searching the land, describe how you're searching. So there are large rocks. There's just, dirty rock kind of base that you're walking on, crunch, crunch, crunch. Not nice sandy beach. Big rocks kind of sporadically, and then a few big trees that are also sporadically around.
Well, I think that maybe you look for food or some kind of reminiscence of usage of something like wouldn't normally be there. You know what I mean? Anything out of place that doesn't look that fits that actual area.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably give us an indication that there's a pathway or somebody's leaving something behind. We could trail that and maybe follow that path.
And I start with my line of sight in the trees and work my way down to the large rocks and see if any of them are movable.
Line of sight in the trees, what do you mean?
I'm looking up to see if there's anything in the trees that I can notice.
Well, the trees are pretty tall. It
We
looks
have
like
climbed
anything in the
trees
canopy?
before.
well, they're spread out, so there isn't really a canopy, but you could climb the trees.
I'd like to find a tree that looks climbable and work my way to the top for a better view.
Okay. Make an athletics check to climb. Shao Zhen, make an investigation check as you kind of fan out the ground level looking for different clues.
18.
You climb to the top, make a perception check.
I rolled a 4.
Okay. You were looking
17.
around on the ground. Shao, what was that?
17.
17. Shao, you get to the top of the tree. You're looking down, you see your brothers, you see these rocks. And suddenly something strange kind of clicks. You're kind of at the top of the tree, you see your brothers, you see the rocks, you see the coast, and you kind of like turn your head a little bit. And the big rocks make a pattern from up here. They make a symbol.
Can I make out the symbol, or can I tell? Have I seen it before?
You have seen it before. Make an intelligence check.
Guidance.
With guidance,
Or use your
me?
inspiration. Remember,
Are you gonna
daily
use-
inspiration.
Are you gonna use
Daily
it?
guidance.
One a day. Should I blow it on this? Okay, I'm gonna
Oh,
use
yeah.
my
You
guidance.
want,
I'll use my.
whatever you
I'll use
want.
my inspiration. I got a 19 and a 20.
All right, dude.
Oh yeah.
This is how this plays out. You get to the top of the tree, you're looking at this, you see these big stones, you see your brothers down there, you tilt your head, and it's like all of a sudden it locks in, and you see the symbol that you saw on the ring that you guys found in Captain Fu's chest.
Do it.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's like connect the dots. It's not obviously like the but you see where all the big boulders line up in these key points, and you're like,
Do I notice a central location within the symbol that looks like maybe an entryway or
Yes.
something that?
it doesn't look like an entryway, but you notice that this area kind of has a nexus in the middle.
Climb down
Mhm.
quickly
Yeah,
and tell my brothers what I found.
yeah.
I was just about to jump in the water.
Brothers, wait before you do anything. I've
Save
found
you a
something.
swim for later.
I've found something from the top of the tree. These rock formations, they are actually formed to the symbol of the ring that we found on the ship.
What? How is that possible?
Proceed with caution. Let's investigate.
And
Remember
just to be
the
clear,
shark man.
there's no, it's not like these boulders were recently rolled into place. Like, this looks like it's been here for a really long time,
Right.
like moss growing on the rocks kind of long time.
Mhm.
But
You look around the entire area, you check every single boulder. There's no hidden thing.
entrance.
It might be
Well,
a locator.
We definitely found a point of interest. I'll continue. I'll do my underwater investigation to see
All right.
if there's anything nearby.
What do you turn into?
A dolphin seems to be
Okay.
pretty reliable.
Now that you did that, you and Cho can both gain an inspiration point. You get into the water. You turn into your dolphin form. And almost immediately you see that this rocky coast, remember I said it's not a beach. So when you go in, it's
Right.
almost like a harbor, like it's deep. You
Yeah.
turn in a dolphin, and about 20 feet down, you see an opening, like a fissure into a underwater cave.
Son of a bitch.
Now it's I should also say, by the time you guys did all this, it's been a couple hours,
Yeah.
going back to the camp, traversing, following the tracks, hiding out, waiting for the cats, sneaking around. I'm going to say it's about 11 a.m. Okay. Like
Okay.
it's late
Okay.
morning. So the sun is
Okay.
overhead. You're actually getting enough, to
Light.
see. And you see this cave opening, and it's not man-made. It's naturally formed, obviously, but it looks like the rock split, and it's not that wide. So about 5 feet wide, but it's like 15 feet tall because of the way that the rocks split.
Right.
So it kind of, the top of this underwater cave tunnel is about 20 feet below the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Make
I'm
a
just
perception.
bringing up dolphin.
Make a
Okay.
perception check.
Perception check. Ooh, that's awesome. My perception. That's a 24.
You see every kind of sea animal that you would expect to see, like all the little fish, snails, mollusks, at the kind of growing up all along the rocky coast, right? But you don't see any other signs of any other kind of life on the outside of this cave.
Nothing unusual yet.
No. You were very confident that there's nothing else on the outside of this area that you see. But coincidentally, it does head in the same direction as the pattern of rocks that you saw above.
Now here's the big question. Should I investigate a little bit or not? I'm gonna go in the cave a little bit.
Okay. You cautiously swim into the cave. Do you have dark vision?
As a dolphin?
Yeah.
No, but I have blind sight to 60
You
feet.
have blind sight. Okay, good. So you can sense the cave, and the cave goes in about 60 feet. And, orientation wise, you're like, I am at a point where right above me must be where those rocks are, that circle of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And your blind sight gives you the impression that this cave splits off in three directions.
Okay.
One way goes to the left, one way goes to the right, and one goes down, like almost like a well.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Decisions.
Anybody
I know,
got
and
any
what-
scuba gear?
What really sucks is I can't talk to you guys. If I want to come back and say something, I can't.
If you multiclassed as a warlock, you could with your familiar.
Yeah. Right.
But that's another episode of Build with Bill.
Yeah.
So you are, like I said, you're about 60 feet in when you get to the split, the fork, and then the straight down. You can sense that the water is cold here. Like it's so for some reason you're getting a sense that this is mixing. This water is somehow mixing.
Yeah, somehow hot and cold. Must be a hot spring nearby. Let's go down.
Okay. Make another perception check.
My hands are shaking.
Meanwhile, Shao, brother must have found something. He's been gone a long time.
16.
No, I mean, he's been gone for like 30, no, not 30 seconds, but like maybe a minute.
A minute? Yeah.
Not that
Like
long.
he's smashing.
So you
gone for 3 hours.
Blind sight gives you this sense that you swim down about 30 feet, and then the tunnel kind of curves and levels out.
Right.
And it continues for as far as your blind sight can sense.
Keep going.
Okay. You follow this about 300 feet.
Oh.
And it opens up into a large underwater grotto. And it goes across this underwater grotto is as far as your blind sight can sense.
Oh, so it's a cavern. There's air.
And there's air above. And the water is different. It's cold.
Cold. Okay, so I'm basically in a big underground cavern.
Yeah. The water is not salt water purely here.
Okay, it's mixed.
It's like a mix of fresh water and salt water.
I'll see if I can find like a beachhead somewhere.
Yeah. You fan out. It's about 100 feet in radius, right? So it's a huge underground cavern.
Yeah.
You bump into it. So, well, you don't bump into because of blind sight, but like you know that there are deposits like stalagmites and stalactites and other sharp rocky things in this underwater cavern, like mineral deposits and stuff. But you definitely find like, an area where it's like air and rock.
Yeah. I can't like see what's up on the rock though, because it's dark down here.
Yes, you can't see anything. It's pitch black.
Okay.
Unless you have dark vision.
No, I'm just making sure just in case like, oh wait, there's like some people over there with
No, there's no, you don't sense any movement or breathing or sounds. Like this is a quiet cavern. You hear like dripping, like a lot of dripping, as if there's like water dripping into it.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna drop my wild shape here and waste another one, so I'm gonna go back to the fork.
All right. Go down, along, back up the well. You get to the fork. Okay, brothers. Now it's been
A minute.
like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna say it's been about 10 minutes because it's not like you're as a dolphin with blind sight, like whipping through a tunnel that you can't see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm not,
you're going slow, right? So
yeah, I'm exploring.
Yeah, it's been about 10 minutes. All right. So you got some air when you popped up in that cave, and the air was definitely dank, like not fresh air. There's no draw. This is like earth, rocky, dank air, stale. So you swim back down. You get back to the split. Left, right.
Go left.
Okay. You go left. This continues underwater for about
a while.
a really long time. Like maybe 1,000 feet.
Ooh.
Inland, like going northeast.
Okay.
When you all right, you keep going. You get to an area where there's a large cavernous kind of opening again and an air pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The difference here is that you see light. There's some light, like a crack in the vaulted rocky ceiling, like not right above, but kind of off to the side, where you see light coming from outside. It's very diffused light, as if it's maybe coming through some kind of cave opening.
Right.
And you
do I get
perception check?
Okay. $19.
Okay. There's definitely things moving around in here.
Okay, I go back.
You sense about 6 or 8 different living forms that are larger than, like, fish.
Yeah.
Moving around up on the surface.
Do I get a sense about where it is on the island from my underground?
Couple thousand feet to the northeast. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need. And I head back.
Okay.
And I'll take the right side this time.
Okay. The right side goes south for a ways, for about what's half a mile or a quarter of a mile. So about let's say like
quarter of a mile, 1,000 feet.
Yeah. So let's say like 1,200 feet.
Okay.
And it starts to come up, ascend slowly until it hits another big cavern. And you make a perception check.
Nice. 23.
Okay. Your blind sight can only get 60 feet. There's no light in this cavern, but it's your sonar senses kind of give you the impression that this is, a big cavern, well past your 60 feet, with rocky ceiling, rocky shore. You're not sure how far out the rocky shore and caves go, but that the pool of water is like 20 feet deep. You hear dripping sounds, but you also hear some movement. There's like 3 sounds of movement kind of up on the rocky shore. And they don't sound like wet kind of feet. They sound like a skittering sound.
Okay, I go back.
Okay, you swim back.
And I go out and I go to my brother's, turn back into a human.
Okay, you guys, this whole thing now is, he was gone for a while, like a half hour. So you're very relieved when you see your brother pull himself up on the rocky shore, and he's like, his hair's wet and his clothes are wet, but he kind of pulls himself up.
Brother, what did you find? You were gone for quite a while.
Found a underwater cave system. It was quite the exploration. I found 3 pathways. as I went inside, as I jumped off in there was a fairly large cave opening, and as I went in, there were 3 pathways. One went left, one right, and one went down and then straightened out. I checked out all of them. The downward pathway opened up into a underground grotto of some sort. There was no light. There was nothing in there that I could really see besides rocks and things. So after that, I came back, went left, well over 1,000 feet, I believe, and in that that came into another cavern. But in that cavern, there was light coming from somewhere. It was 1,000 feet. Was it northwest or northeast still?
Northeast.
Northeast. And so perhaps that we could check that one out. But there were things in there. I didn't go to investigate too closely, being by myself. But there were creatures that were there. I came back, went right into another cavern and about another little over 1,000 feet, and that was pitch black as well. And there were things in there too, but they sounded like skittering things. I'm not sure. And I came back, and that's all I have to report at the moment.
Were there any destinations that we could get to by swimming and being able to hold our breath, or was it too far?
For you two, no. You would not be able to hold your breath that long. Even if I were to even if you guys held on to me, I don't think I could get us that fast.
Well, I don't feel comfortable sending you back in alone. Can you transform into something more vicious than a dolphin? Or maybe
I haven't
smaller.
seen
Something smaller so you can stick around.
I don't think I've seen a reef shark yet, right, Bill? I've only seen hunter sharks.
You have not seen any reef sharks in your travels. No, not yet.
I didn't think so. No, not yet, brother. But the pathway that led to the left, it had natural light, so there had to be some way, opening of some sort to get in there. So that might be our best option to all 3 of us to explore right now.
Yes. And brother, if I give you back your scimitar, can you merge it into your body so you'll have a weapon when you arrive to the air?
I don't need it. I can summon my own sword.
Excellent.
Brother Cade, is there any way that we can orient the light source from above to reflect where it would be underneath in the cavern? Can we see if we can scour around and investigate the rock formation to see if there is an opening, and maybe we can lower ourselves down into the cavern, or at least look in the cavern instead of having to transverse through the water, which we cannot breathe?
Well, let's head in that northeast direction that I went. We should be able to find the opening, hopefully, in the ground or wherever it's at somewhere, and see inside.
Well met, brothers.
And I think we head out there if anyone's got nothing.
Okay. You are going to travel northeast, and you're going to make 2 rolls. Survival checks, and then perception checks.
Mhm.
But make the first roll and tell me what those are.
17.
18.
First one's survival.
Yeah.
That is 14.
Okay. As you guys travel, you figure that you've gone a couple thousand feet, maybe half a mile. And this area is also very rocky and open. I mean, there's occasionally trees, but like very rocky, very open kind of area. You feel like you've traveled approximately how far Cade felt he had gone. And you even see that the topography has changed. Like this is a little more of a hilly area as well. Not mountains, okay, but like a little more up and down and still rocky and still some big boulders.
Yeah.
Now make perception checks.
Yes. 24.
Okay.
Nice. Dirty
As
20.
as you guys are walking up one of these various hill things, you see a cluster of boulders and you see kind of a hollow between these boulders, and it's not very big. It's about 3 feet wide. Like you can squeeze through sideways, sort of. But you see that it's kind of a hollow, and you see that there's rocky walls that descend kind of on a diagonal going into the ground.
Are there any
My
vines
brothers.
nearby?
There are, well, you're not far from the jungle. You're about a quarter mile from the jungle, and you know that there are kind of viney trees over there that you could harvest vines from.
We will need to make some sort of rope in order to get into the mouth of the cave, or in the mouth of the rocks here.
Let's go gather some.
Okay. You guys run off. You find some vines. You kind of twine them together as best as you can. You run back to the spot, and you feel like you have 2 sturdy vines that you've tied together that will get you about 60 feet down. Who is going first?
Could I use my acrobatics and traverse the inside of the wall?
I would normally say yes, but the answer is no, and here's why. It is such a narrow passage
I can't really
that
move.
you don't have mobility. Like this is definitely just a climb check. Now it's not straight down, so it's not like you're like like you're going down a.
We're not cliffhangering this.
Right. This is it's a descent on a kind of diagonal. So I guess I want to know, if you go first, what's the deal with your vine rope? Like, is someone anchoring you? Are you tying it around yourself? What's your plan?
Is there anywhere to tie off?
Yeah, the
Large
boulders.
boulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's tie it off.
All right. So you sacrifice about 10 feet of your 60-foot vine rope to tie it off, and that gives you another 50 feet. So if you're going first, then Shao, make an athletics check.
17.
That's more than fine. You easily, you kind of squeeze through, and you slowly, kind of on your rump with the rope, you're kind of going down. How are you seeing? Because it's dark once you get down to about 40 feet. I mean, you still have light behind you, but you can't really see too well in front of you. And you hear the sound of dripping, like water dripping.
Can I triangulate the sound of the dripping and pinpoint where it's landing?
So it's up ahead of you. It sounds like there's some kind of opening. Like you can hear the echo and the sounds of like dripping.
I will continue using my senses of smell and hearing.
Okay.
Because they're heightened because I can't see shit.
Make a perception check.
20, Nat 20,
Okay.
baby.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say you get down to a point where your cave tunnel ends and your feet are like, oh, this is a free fall here.
Oh, no ground.
You're not falling, but it's definitely like a free fall kind of environment where your feet are dangling, and you could hear the sounds of dripping, and ahead of you, it's like you're at the end of a slide, but there's nothing underneath you. Like your slide comes through the ceiling. And you could hear the sounds of the dripping. You sit there for, a couple minutes, and your eyes adjust, and just a little bit of the ambient light that's coming through behind you allows you to see that there's just open space in front of you. You cannot see into the cavern though, because you don't have dark vision, and you don't have a torch. You don't have any light.
Can I differentiate the time distance between the plop and the drip
No,
to tell how far it is before it hits ground?
no, you
I-
can.
If I jump, I die, guys. I'm gonna climb back up. Does anyone have? I'm climbing back up.
I really should have gave you dark vision before you went down.
All right, you climb back up. That whole process took like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So
That's not
guys-
long.
because it's because you're scooting down like 8 inches at a time and going down blind. You get back up. You realize something too, that the rope got you there, but you definitely didn't have enough rope to like throw it out from the other side of the chute and descend. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, we need more.
We need more. We will need more rope.
Also, all right, so Cho, you come out of this little crevice, and you describe to your brothers what you saw. The other thing is that you guys are hungry because it's like after lunchtime now, and you've like, it's not like you've been taking a leisurely stroll around. Like y'all have been
Right.
like working, so
Yes.
you're hungry and you're thirsty.
Does the stream run near here? I can't recall.
It's about 2 miles into the stream.
Okay, let's gather more vines. Oh, brothers, this is what I found. It's complete darkness. I could not maneuver very well, but what I was able to do was go down the 50 feet that the vine allowed me to travel, and I could hear the dripping and I felt like there was an opening, but fearful that I would not be able to report this back to you if I jumped in without vision. We'll need more vine, and it's about time to gather some food. Should we head to the stream and collect some things and then return when we have eaten and had some drink?
Get also some help if we need it.
I agree, brother. Let's at least go get some water and maybe find something to eat on the way and get some more vine rope.
All of you make a survival check.
11.
Okay. This is just to kind of assess where you are. So you got to look around you,
18.
get landmarks of like where you are, kind of,
Or
and then you have a good sense of where you're at. You head back towards the camp. You gather water. You drink from the stream. With your survival checks, you're also able to kind of gather some things that you feel are edible. Wild fruits that are edible, and you make your way back to the camp. When you arrive at the camp, you see some of the men are bringing back some fish. Looks like they've been fishing, and the nets that they made the day before. And there aren't a lot of fish. There's maybe a half dozen fish, and you see Zhao Chen like working on filleting them and stuff, and he's got this flat stone that he's kind of laid across 2 logs that he's using as like a cutting board. And there's a fire going. The rest of the crew also seems to be taking a break. It's kind of midday now, so it's pretty warm. And people are kind of sitting around, and Captain Fu sees you and he's like, you've returned. So tell me, come. You guys sit down with him. And he says, what did you find on the island?
Brother Cade, you can tell him your findings first.
Okay.
So you summarize like you tell him about, all right.
I tell him everything.
Okay. So basically at this point, he's like, Captain Fu kind of listens to what you have to say. And he says, this is very suspicious. I wish I knew more of the lore of these sea devils, but it would seem to me as if perhaps you found some evidence that they are here or that they have some kind of outpost here. We must tread carefully, and as you have suggested, we should keep watches at night and be more alert for potential attacks from the water and from the land. Perhaps after you eat, would you be willing to continue using your mastery of nature to build some more solid kind of stony earthen walls? And
Yes, let me check one thing about that mold oath.
he says, I would I would be cautious about exploring these caves, although certainly it would seem that if you were to do something like this, doing it during the daytime would be wise. He says, I recall something about the Sea Devils in the early days when they would make these raids on coastal settlements. Typically, these things would happen at nighttime. It would seem that they are more active at nighttime, but we will also be vigilant now that you have discovered this potential threat, my friends. Well done. Well done.
I'll
Sure wish
spend,
I had my grappling hook and my rope at this time.
right. I'll spend time fortifying the beachhead.
Okay. Yeah, you guys have something to eat in the afternoon. You know, people kind of take naps. Basically, Captain Fu he tells like half the crew to like go to sleep now so that they could be awake at night.
Right.
The nice big canvas that you guys have found has kind of become a community tent, and there's, you know, not boards, but like, you know, branches that have been tied together to kind of create surfaces where things can be set out. And it looks like basically they have, you know, stacks of dry wood and kindling that they're kind of keeping under this tent for fires. They have hollowed out a number of logs to act as kind of like bowls and buckets, you know, so they're people refilling water. So you guys continue for a few hours. You rest a little bit, and Captain Fu, as the night approaches, he feels confident that the you know, guards on watch will help. And that, you know, the fire is kept going. Torches are prepared so that people can see. And that is where we'll end this episode of High Adventure. Tune in next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notifications bell so that you don't miss the exciting next episode. We'll see you.
Well, hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things.